And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I am Michael DeLon. Today I'm talking with Johnathan Grzybowski. Johnathan, man, thank you for being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
You are welcome, man. It's going to be a great conversation. So, Johnathan is a founder of a company called Penji. Penji's been around for a few years. They're an Inc. 5000 company now, and they help business owners really work with top level designers so that we can get the kind of designs we want much easier than just hiring somebody else and things. So, that's what we're going to be talking about. And how you actually, Johnathan, bootstrapped this business. So I'm titling this right now, Bootstrapping Success with a focus on design. And I want to dive into just a lot of different aspects of what you've done and the impact it can be for my audience. So thanks for being here and tell me, how in the world did you get doing what you're doing?
Suck at graphic design.
Okay.
I'm terrible.
Love it.
I have a funny story about that, and this is like I think this is the second time I've actually said this story because it was the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah.
But my wife and I did one of those like I draw you, you draw me.
Yeah.
My wife, in my humbled opinion, is the most beautiful person on the entire planet. And when I drew her, she is by far the most heinous person on planet Earth based on my drawings. She looks like a cross between like Miss Piggy meets like Jason meets Freddy Krueger. Like when I drew her, so it was terrible. Now,
Oh,
mind you,
man.
she drew me perfectly well. Like it would have
Right.
been in the Louvre in France. Like that's how good it
Wow.
would have been. So, the short answer, that's the long answer of why I'm here. I'll try to create a more concise answer
I love
next.
that one. No, that's great.
But the reason why I'm here is because I found a problem, and my co-founder found it, and I found a problem that's worth solving and waking up
Mm,
every single day for in order to solve it. And I think there's two things to that. Number one, if you don't have that problem in business, then there's really like you're gonna just burn out.
yeah.
You're not gonna want to do it anymore, and you're just your brain's gonna be all over the place. To me in particular, that problem that we're solving, which is what you said, Michael, find helping small business owners find reliable talent, right?
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult to find talent. It's extremely difficult to trust people. It's extremely difficult to educate people in order for them to get you. But what if there's a solution that allowed you the ability to go on a website, click buy, meet a designer, meet a video designer, and then basically have them do your projects in 24 hours? It's like extremely difficult. So
Yeah.
reason why I'm here is that I suck at graphic design. We created the solution to that problem, and we've been working on it ever since.
That's awesome. I love how you started that whole thing by saying, I suck at graphic design. And I'm like, but you run a design company in a sense, right?
Yeah,
But that's why you do it, is because you found a need and you filled it. And that's how we as entrepreneurs create companies to serve other people, right? And
100%.
and you knowing that there's such a need for entrepreneurs to find great designers,
Yeah.
you just built the technology to make it really pretty simple to do, and the turnaround time. And I want to talk, so let's talk a little bit first of all about how you have bootstrapped this, and how long Pinji's been around, and the just the astronomic growth that you've had. But then I want to talk about the culture of the designers and things who work with you. What all can they do? So that's kind of where we're going, because I want
Sure.
my audience to understand this is not just logo design or something like that. I mean, you got a great cadre of people. But let's talk about how'd you bootstrap Pinji? How'd you go from I hate graphic design to this is where we are now?
Yeah. So it's a very slow burn, to be honest with you, and that's kind of why I said in the very beginning, which is you have to have a problem that you want to that's worth solving, because I would say a large majority of the people that I know, at least, that have started businesses at the same exact time frame, they either don't exist anymore, or they moved on to other things, or
Yeah.
they're still doing it, and it's at the same growth that it was 10 years ago when we started it. We used to
Right.
be a digital marketing agency. We did a lot of digital marketing work. We did SEO, web design, all that other fun stuff. And then we realized, like I said, the problem, which is finding reliable talent. We could never find reliable talent for ourselves, and then we found it. So the bootstrapping aspects of it, it came from the foundations of a digital marketing company. The bootstrapping aspects of it came from, well, how can we just try and find a way to earn more revenue? So at the very beginning, we had our agency, which kind of like allowed us to pay maybe like one ramen per day instead of two ramens per day. It
Right.
wasn't making that much money, but it was making money. And then we essentially said, well, if we create this product, right, would we be able, would who would be interested in it? And so we polled about 200 of our closest friends and allies and said, if we build this, will you come? It's going to be $79 per month,
Hmm.
and are you interested? We got a ton of people allocated within that 200 people, and then essentially it just grew from there. So from the 200 people, we went in and we talked to every single one of the customers. We asked them, well, do you know somebody else? And then they knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody. So it was literally just like a tree branch that kind of
Yeah.
just like kept going and going and going. And then we got to a little bit more serious growth. We got to like maybe like 500 customers,
Hmm.
and then that felt nice. So then we decided to double the price, and then
Right.
from there we just kept doubling the price until we found a sweet spot, and that sweet spot is somewhere around $500 to $1,000.
Hmm.
Um, Truly, sounds like a very easy formula that I'm saying, but this is like the God honest truth of like what we did. We took the money that we made from profit and we rolled it all the way back into advertising. We started
Hmm.
hiring people in order to do it better than us. And then from there, it just kept going and going. And as a recurring business model happens, you get more money the longer that the customers are around. And
Yeah.
we've have customers that haven't quit and haven't left us for 7+ years. So
Wow.
um, that's literally the formula of how we did it.
Dude, that's insane. Number one. Number two, well done, because that's a great way to do it. And I love the idea of you saying, "Do you know somebody else? Do you know somebody else?" Right? Referrals, because we all know people. It's just we're scared to death to ask that question. Do you
Yeah,
know somebody else I could help?
for sure. I think a lot of people are really afraid of that. Still to this day, I still talk to all of our customers when they leave.
Good.
I'm not. I mean, like my ego, I don't really care. Like if you pay us $70, just like, hey, what could we have done differently? What
Right.
can I do to earn your respect? What can I do to earn your trust? Hey, you had a really crap experience. You received a design that was not good. I'm sorry. It
Yes.
wasn't my fault. It wasn't their fault. It's just the pairing wasn't a good fit. So
Yeah.
let's make this right. And we
Right.
have that conversation and that level of honesty. And I think from that day, and the next question I'm sure is going to be about culture. I think it starts with how you treat customers. And then from
Mhm.
there, how do you treat people internally?
Yeah.
Um, I will say that we live on the truth of honesty and we live on the truth of practicality. Like,
Mhm.
it is this fair? Like that's really it. Like, hey, you hate this. Well, are we going to make you pay for it? No, that's not really fair. Do you feel
Right.
fairly treated in that aspect? Customer A? No, I think you're taking advantage of me. Okay, well, guess what? What is fair? Well,
Yeah.
I think $200 a month is fair. Okay, if you think that's what's fair is, then we'll give that to you. And then
Hmm.
I think the same rules apply when it comes to creating a culture for your business, which is, hey, are you being treated fairly right now? No,
Yeah.
I'm not being treated fairly right now. Okay, well, what's not being treated fairly? My salary. I needed to increase. To what? I want to be paid $1 million a month. Okay, so do I. That sounds pretty freaking cool. Here's how you're here's how you're gonna get $1 million a month.
Yeah.
Because right now you're getting paid $1 a month and you want to get
Right.
to 1 million. Here are the steps that you have to take in order to get to that million. And
That's
if you
right.
don't have that road mark and that honest conversation, and I've actually felt, I'm kind of going on a tangent right now, and I apologize, but
That's
I've found that like just that level of honesty and transparency is probably the biggest key to our success. Is like,
Mhm.
listen, dude, I want you to be paid that too. Or, hey
Right.
man, I want to charge you that as well, but I can't. And here's
Yeah.
why I can't. But here's what can we can do in order to make that possible.
Yeah. Man, that is so good. I think just everybody should stop listening to this and rewind about 5 minutes. Just,
Yeah.
just honestly, re-listen because I mean, it's what you're saying right there takes me all the way back to Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People because he was talking there about listening empathically and truly asking questions and shutting up and saying, all right, so what I heard you say, Jonathan, was you'd really like to make $1 million a month because of this and blah blah. Is that right? And you have these conversations that unfortunately they take time. And too many times we are chasing that next sale or whatever to not, and we forget that no, a simple conversation. They're hard conversations sometimes, but they don't need to be. It's just, okay, let me figure out what I can do. I
Yeah.
might not be able to do that.
Yeah.
Let me see what I can do.
I mean,
And
I'll give you like literally 4 minutes before this call
yeah,
started. I was in a conversation and one of our salesperson is up for review, and I just told him straight up that, hey man, you're not getting a bonus, like you're not getting a pay raise this year because your commission is so high. You know, like that's
yeah,
more or less what I said to him, and it was like you're doing a great job, but like it's no longer fair,
right,
you know? And so like I want you to continue working hard and you'll get your bonus structure and all that other fun stuff, but like
right,
the base salary, it can't move anymore,
right,
right? We're already at capacity. And he was understanding of that. But I told him why, I told him how, I told him like all that things. And if you just have that honest man to man or person to person conversation, I mean, like, who's going to be angry at you
that's
if
right.
you do
Yeah.
that?
Most people understand, right? And they really, and it goes back, I don't know if it's Covey or somebody told me years and years ago, is the basic fundamental need of the human is to be heard and understood.
Yeah, I respect that.
If we do that, it clears the decks on a lot of things, and then we can just talk and go, I get you. Maybe I can
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
But the thing that you're communicating, kind of in between the lines that I want to pull out and tease a little bit is the culture, because we're talking here, you're talking with customers and you're talking with your team members. And as I look at our company, I look at my team members really as my number one customer, because when they're happy and everything, they're going to treat my customer like I treat them. Fair?
100%. I agree. I,
Yeah.
I, I fully, very much so agree with that. If they're not set up for success, and I have tons of stories about that as well. If you're not communicating well with your team, then how can your customers understand what it is how you're trying to help them?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it brings, I find it brings, well, confidence and alignment. They know not only our vision and where we're going, they know my heart behind it.
Yeah,
And
that's good.
and that's more important to me. And
I would
that way, when
agree.
a life experience happens, we had one of our writers, um, they had a baby and something happened with the heart, and so they were in like ICU for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 days or whatever.
Mm,
And when that got back finally around to me, because that's outside of my world, it's like, oh, whoa, time out. What can we do? So I
yeah.
sent him a Loom video, and I'm like, can we do anything to help? And we restructured, what he was doing. I said, just take your time, man. Just go be with family because that's the priority. Um,
Amen.
and it's really fun because at the end of the day, I mean, I'm a book publisher, right? I do books. It's not live or die, right? But we've got to take care of our customers, so we communicate well with the customer, but we take care of our client and or our people. And I know that just doing that added so much value to the relationship. And that's just a tangential thing, but that's the culture aspect of how can we become. You don't become a Fortune 5,000 company by not having a good culture and communicating with clients and all of that. And I think so many times people look at those things, wow, that's like super amazing, and sometimes it is. But what's more super amazing is serving our customers, finding that need, and dare I say, worrying less about the astronomic growth of your company and worrying more about the value you're providing. And when you do that right, the growth comes. Is that
I
fair?
agree. I've 100% fair. I think like a lot of times when you get interviewed and you get asked questions about like, um, how did you grow the company, or how did you get to where you are? And then the answer is like everybody wants this amazing answer of like prosperity and joy and
Yeah.
like love and awesomeness. But the actual answer is literally me behind a computer 12 hours, 15 hours a day, and I'm doing literally absolutely nothing, forgetting how to eat and being in meetings all day and just like, talking like ugly thing. It's all ugly, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
literally everything that I did, everything we did in order to grow the business, it's ugly as hell. Uh,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but it's a gritty, claw scratching type of way. And that was our story. That is our story. But when it comes to like treating people with love and respect, like, the unfortunate truth is my mom passed away maybe 4 or 5 ish years or so ago, and I never really had the mindset that I do now. I don't know if, like, maybe it was always there. Maybe it was sprung based on that experience, but the idea of like life is really short and you have one go at this. You don't have another, you don't have an Uno rewind button. And so, like, to me, I've realized, well, what are the conversations that are worth having? What are the arguments that are worth having? Is this argument actually, like, is this a stupid argument? Even with my wife too. Like, we
Right.
even have conversations where it's like, okay, listen, this argument is too long.
Yeah.
Like I know you're hurting, and you're hurting, I'm hurting too. What's going on? Like,
Right.
what's up? So, and I think the same rules apply for business as well, which is like, okay, do you want to spend it doing the same thing every single day, or do you want to be able to break out of the norm and live a pretty prosperous life that allows you the ability to afford, maybe an extra pump of sugar in your latte at Starbucks,
Right.
right? Like, I don't know, but life is too short, man, and you might as well do it while you enjoy the things that you like.
Amen. Amen. There's no sense in um yeah, living only for tomorrow, right? You got to live today. Make sure I've got this little phrase that I tell myself all the time. It's like I learn from the past, I live in the present, and I lead into the future. And I've
That's
got to
good.
tell myself that all the time to go, the past I can't change, in the future I can influence, but I don't want to spend so much time thinking and dreaming about my legacy
Yeah.
that I miss my legacy. Because you
Yeah,
got a
that's
4 month
true.
old little baby. I've got a 4 month old grandchild. If I'm so focused on 30 years from now and where she's going to be, I'm going to miss the fact that she's going to be 5 pretty soon, and I'm
Yeah.
going to miss those years.
Yeah, exactly right. I
Yeah,
agree, and I actually think that I started thinking about the word legacy more and more, but than when I had my first child,
yeah,
because it is true. Like, how do you want to be remembered? Because I started thinking to myself, oh crap, my kid's gonna go to school and she's gonna be bragging about her dad or her mom, and be like, oh, where have you? The teacher's going to ask a question like, where have you gone in your travels? What countries have you been to?
yeah.
And my mom never actually traveled at all. Period. She never had a passport, and I never traveled until I was 20, mid 20s.
Okay,
My daughter just went to Mexico last month. She
great.
already has like a stamp, so it's like I just want what's best for my family.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love it. And in our culture, we can do that. And let's get back to the topic, right? We
Sure,
got off, but I love that I love that tangent. Um,
sure.
let's talk about Penji, and you've got this team of reliable designers. What does that mean? What kind of design does an entrepreneur need that you fulfill?
Yeah. So there are two things that you could do. You can either do it yourself or you could hire somebody else.
Hmm.
Um, Doing it yourself is great, but I can almost promise you, if you do it yourself, something is going to be missed. You're going to miss a birthday. You're going to miss a feeding. You're going to miss a diaper
Right.
change. You're going to miss a client meeting. You're going to miss a sales opportunity.
Yeah.
That's not always the best solution. It is the cheapest solution, but it's not always the best solution.
Yeah.
So Penji is the fit for people who are upgraded from that DIY type of
Yeah.
model. And so if you want to hire somebody in-house, you may not necessarily need to hire somebody more or less in America, right?
Right.
America, although is a great country to live in, I'm grateful enough to be here. A common salary here, especially when you're first starting out in business, is not the best option for a large majority of people.
Right.
So why not hire somebody if you want in America in a different position that is going to yield to more maybe sales opportunities, and
Yeah.
then outsource whatever else that you can.
Yeah.
And you can outsource literally everything. But in our case, Penji allows you to outsource all of the creative aspects of your business. So if you find yourself doing it yourself and you don't want to anymore, use a company like Penji. I mean, it's a great way to load literally all of your work, and then you can go talk to your clients or you can go talk to your team, whatever it is. But I can almost promise you, if you can get rid of that like creative task, um, your business will reap the benefits of it.
Oh, absolutely. It will. And it's in the small to medium sized business owners, they need to learn not to do a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We just need to be isolated and say, I can, you don't know this about me, John. I only do four things well in life, right? I'm really good at those four things, but I've built a team around me to do about everything else
Yeah.
because, like you, I'm terrible at graphics, right? I went to a conference 2 or 3 weeks ago and I started designing the flyer. I'm like, all right, this is stupid. I'm going to tell them what I kind of want
Yeah.
and you do the rest.
Yeah,
And designers think differently than I do. And they'll come back with a design. I'm like, I would never have done that, but that's amazing.
for sure.
And it communicates graphically or through video or something. And that's kind of what we're talking about. And you simplify, talk about the simplicity. I know that's one of the core values of your company is how simple is it for a business owner who's never used you to go on there and say, okay, I need a brochure or a Facebook ad or whatever it is. What's that? Just how simple can it be for somebody?
Sure. Yeah. So when you hire somebody in house, you have to educate them about your company. You have to make sure that they're not a lunatic, right? Like you want to make
Yeah,
sure that they're like smart and educated. um that process of figuring out the business and figuring out the personality is probably like a 3 month process,
yeah,
right? To onboard somebody, and then you're like, man, this guy stinks or this girl stinks. They're not communicating the right way, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. There's always going to be that thing that you don't particularly like about somebody, and so you have to more or less weigh out your options. Is this worth the cost?
yeah,
I would say hiring in house is an amazing opportunity to do if you're lucky enough to be able to afford it, but it's not the best option. And so what Penji is literally 3 clicks in 2 minutes, and you can submit your first project, and then you'll
hmm,
receive that project in 24 hours or less.
yeah,
So when it comes to ease of use, like we just want to be able to say, I need graphic design
yeah,
or I need a video created. I need it done now because every
yeah.
entrepreneur needs it done now. They needed it done yesterday.
That's right.
And so what if we were to create a business that would be able to allow that to happen? And that's more
Yeah.
or less what Penji is.
That's awesome. And these are top designers, right? And that's the other thing about what you've put together. You're not getting junk. You're not getting this,
Yeah. I mean,
right?
let's be honest, there is junk. Like there some of the people that work for us are junk,
Yeah,
but they're not junk to everyone. They
right.
are good at what they do to a lot of people. And so the hard part is you have to find the right person that works with you. It's no different than you finding a partner in life.
Right.
It's not going to be perfect right away. There are things that are going to be wrong. You have to work with somebody. The thing I said to my co-founder the other day is I don't care if people think Penji is the best or the worst graphic design, creatives on the planet. I just want them to feel like we genuinely give a crap about their business and serving them. And that to me is better than the quality of graphic design or the quality of a video or the quality of
Yeah,
anything. Because every designer and every creative is not built the same way and you're going to
right.
respond to them differently. But I can promise you, that if you don't like it, we're going to find and do our best to make sure that you do before you
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah. See, and that's awesome right there because I remember a lot of things from my background in learning and marketing. Bill Glazer wrote a book one time, and he wrote that he had this statement. He's like, "Good is good enough." He's like, "Get it done, get it out. It doesn't have to be perfect because that's what slows entrepreneurs down."
Yeah, for
And
sure.
it's like, no, 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 good is good enough. And then a client of ours gave me this phrase that we use all the time: "Done beats perfect every time." And it's like, can we get it? Yeah, 80%, 85, 90%. Okay, that's probably good enough. Let's go to the next one. And when you have that mentality, Dan Kennedy always said, money loves speed. And I think in things like this, 24 hours to get something created and done. Okay, good. Let's go to the next one. What else do we have? When you build that kind of a momentum and that kind of a factory, you can then spend the entrepreneur's time working with clients, gaining more revenue to reinvest in something. And that's how you build your business. You can't do it all yourself because
Mhm.
there's all kinds of things that, as you would say, I suck at in my business. That's why we've built a team to do all of those. I had a client yesterday ask me specifically, point blank, on something about her book. I'm saying, I have no idea. I can get the answer. My team knows. Why don't you just email Tati, because she will give you that answer right now, because I have no idea. And we've built it that way on purpose. I don't want to give a bad answer or a wrong answer, but I've got people who will give you the right answer right now.
100%.
And that's
Absolutely.
exactly what it sounds like you've built Penji to do, with the heart behind it, to say, hey, if you're not happy, let us know. We are here to make it right and to help you, because you know the struggles that entrepreneurs have, because you are one of us. And
Yeah.
I think that adds a layer to hiring remote people to do things, because you've got a company now that has a heart behind it, who or what you might actually get a call from Johnathan, and he might actually talk with you because he cares that much about what they do. I love that.
Yeah.
No
Thanks,
wonder,
man.
no wonder you're an Inc. 5000 company. I mean, with that kind of a heart, you're doomed to succeed.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I just, yeah, it's all about love, right?
It is. It really is, and we've lost that in our culture. So I'm so glad
Unfortunately, we did.
that you're here, and that I can share you with my audience. And how do people? I mean, you and I could probably talk for a really long time about all this. Where does somebody go? How do you where do they go to find out more about Penji and to try it out in 2 minutes or less?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Penji.co, penji.co. If you resonated with anything that I said today, amazing. I'm also a pretty open book. If you want to email me directly and I delivered even just 1% of value to you, Jonathan at penji.co, Johnathan at penji.co. I just want to help people. That's why I'm on this planet, and
Mm,
I want to be able to do whatever I can to provide to other people that I wasn't able to do, and I had to figure out on my own. And it
yeah.
took me a very, very long time and a lot of stress and um, a lot of sleepless nights. And I don't want you to have the same thing. So
Absolutely. Well, Johnathan, thank you, man. Thank you for enduring the battle to be an entrepreneur. Thank you for noticing the need, filling the need, creating something like Penji that is so helpful, and putting the heart behind it. So I'm going to make sure that the show notes have your email, have links to penji.co, because I want people to experiment with it, to try it out, and to lower the frustration that these entrepreneurs have, and to get things done better, faster, sooner, so that they can get on it and grow their company. So, man, thanks
thanks,
thanks for
man.
being here. I
Thanks for
appreciate it.
having me. Appreciate it.